Hey gang, Ronan here. As you can see in this game, we've got Alpha Radagast playing the Tier 8 Toenail. I I honestly have no idea. We're going to go with Tone. This is a hybrid ship, which is a cruiser that has aircraft. You can see a small flight deck there and some launch rails. He didn't tell me much about this game other than that he wanted me to have it because it would annoy Reger, who really doesn't want anything else with planes introduced to the game. All right, so because there were a couple of new bugs introduced to the game with update 10.5, I'm going to go back in to settings. And see, these will not stay checked for replays now since that update. And now 10.6 is rolled out and it's still the same. That's also true of the torpedo bug that was introduced with 10.5. If you're not familiar, for as long as I've been playing the game, when you launched torpedoes, they went essentially where the indicator suggested they would go, regardless. Now, if you're turning to starboard, your torpedoes will arc to the starboard side of whatever your indicator said. And if you're turning to port, your torpedoes will go outside of what the indicator said to the port side. And I've tested that since 10.6 rolled out. And that new bug is with us as well, still. It would certainly be nice if Wargaming would spend a little bit of time trying to address bugs and maybe a little more time creating new maps as opposed to rolling out gimmicky ship after gimmicky ship after gimmicky ship. Case in point, the relatively new Tier 8 hybrid Tone. And, you know, I kind of have an unpleasant feeling that this is the shape of things to come. And we've got the Dutch cruiser line that, well, it's in early release right now with the new, well, I say new, I've been here playing this game a long time, but the relatively new idea of making tech tree ships available ahead of everyone else if you're willing to spend money or grind some missions. So what about this ship? Well, you can see it's got 4 different turrets, but it doesn't have a whole lot of guns. Got a total of 8 barrels. Armor, not too great. Maneuverability, not too great. Hit points, not too great. But hey, you can launch some planes and attack from the air as long as you don't mind what happens to your ship, which you have no control over while you're flying the planes. Just one of many awesome new mechanics that were a part of the CV rework. Because, hey, everyone knows players can't handle more than one thing at a time. That argument, of course, doesn't really hold much water for anybody who's been around playing the game for a while, because the old RTS CVs, a player who was decent, had spent a little time practicing, could handle multiple ship squadrons plus their own ship. I think most of us know that the changes to aircraft and the fact that you can't control your ship anymore while you're flying aircraft has a lot more to do with the fact that, oh, nice, got that destroyer sitting broadside, I'm sure, in a smoke. has a lot more to do with whether or not the mechanic can be implemented in console games, right? If you're playing a console game, it's a little harder to control 3 or 4 things all at one time. So, hey, let's just limit the PC game to doing one thing at a time, rather than having 2 different ways of doing things, one for PC and one for console games. Yeah, I know. Big sigh. Call me an optimist. That wouldn't be true, but you could call me one. I'm going to maintain at least a little bit of hope that before wargaming loses every player who's been around for a while, they will make an attempt at getting back toward what attracted so many people to this game initially. So that first torpedo strike was made, and you could see kind of how that mechanic worked, and that you didn't really have any control of your ship. I guess it is one way to turn an enemy ship to your shells. I mean, what by that I mean the dunk, in order to avoid the torpedoes, the dunk turned full broadside to the green team, but at least so far, no one's been able to maximize on that advantage. Here comes some shells on Alf's broadside. This could hurt. I think he got away lucky there. Activates a heal. Gets a little bit of HP back. And rather than pushing right out there, Alf is going to get on a shot or 2 here from behind the cover of the island. Now, Gneisenau is, of course, well, German tech tree dispersion. Not the most accurate of ships, but those shells, if they do hit, they really hurt. So discretion probably is the better part of valor here. Especially since if Alf rounds the island here, he's going to be caught between the Dunkirk and the Gneisenau. Now, the Dunk probably has his guns to the other side, but I bet he's rotating them. Yeah. His guns are to the other side. They are rotating, but very slowly. With some luck, maybe the Dunk will be gone before those guns come all the way around. Well, that'll help. So that's fire number 3. And the Dunk is gone. Now the focus can be Gneisenau. Now the good guys have they've got a commanding lead in terms of points. They've got 2 caps to 1. Their positioning, much better. The bad guys fell back on this side quite a bit. Gneisenau is not long for this world. This shot from Massachusetts could take it. Oh. Now you may notice that on the tone all the guns are up front. That's of course because you got a flight deck on the ass end of the ship. And really, in a situation like this, only able to use the front 2 turrets, so 4 barrels. And it is not 360-degree rotation on these turrets, so as Alf turns the ship, you can see that that was close. The back 2 turrets have to rotate all the way around. I think that Gneisenau is more or less stopped there. And down he goes to the Massachusetts. So the bad guys are down 6 ships. Good guys are only down 2. And this really is all over but the shouting. The bad guys are making an effort. They've got, I imagine, the Scane in the Bravo camp. They lose their Asashio to the friendly Implacable. And yeah, that's pretty much it for them. Asashio Torps do take out the Andrea Doria. Scane takes out the Leander. And is promptly blapped by the King George. Now this reticule here does not seem to get any more narrow than that. Well, that was, no reflection on Alf, but that was pretty pathetic. Well, I have to say I'm glad to see a real example of what this ship is probably going to be doing in most games. It looks like an okay support ship. I don't think you could lead a push effectively, or I guess probably the best way for me to say it is I don't see this ship, based on what I'm seeing here and a couple of other things that I've seen, I don't see this ship as a significant difference maker overall in most games. If you've got a team that pushes on one side, you're in a position to be able to find a place to hide occasionally and get your planes in the air. Maybe you can do something with those. But it looks to me like most of the time, the ship is going to be relegated to much more of a support role. Turning full broadside to the Colorado, who is, I think, focused on the KGV. Yeah, I might swing my guns around to the Leander here. That is a Citadel waiting to happen. Maybe even switch to AP. Taking a look at the big board. 59 shells on target and counting. Landed a couple torpedoes, sank a ship, started 6 fires, shot down 1 aircraft. Looks like I'm just going to stick with the HE. Sometimes that should be plenty for Leander. I mean, it's got toilet paper for armor. Still showing broadside to that Colorado, but the Colorado's probably just zoomed in on the KGV and not paying any attention to anything else going on in the game. A couple of HE hits for roughly 1,000 HP of damage. It's not going to make a big difference, but this might do it. No. Colorado goes down to the KGV. KGV goes down to the Colorado. So it's a trade. Good on you, Colorado. Leander's just teasing Alf here. Alf sticks with the AG. And this will soon be over. So I will say, Alf, thank you very much for sending this in. I appreciate the example of kind of how this ship works. I'd be curious to know whether you have fun with this ship, and if so, how much, and what is it that you like most about it. And anyone watching this who has the ship, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it as well. And if you don't have it and are, like so many, just averse to anything new that has aircraft, feel free to share that as well. Well, it's almost over. 2 kills, 2 torpedo hits, 72 shells on target, a couple of aircraft shot down, 1 cap assist, 3 incapacitations, 88,000 damage and counting, 864,000 plus potential damage. All in all, a pretty respectable game. Thanks a lot for joining me. Really appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.